Hello guys, so today we'll be discussing about the two laws that Mendel proposed after he did his experiment with the monohybrid cross. Okay, so the two laws that Mendel did was he gave law of dominance, okay, law of dominance, and number two, what he stated is law of segregation. Segregation means to separate. Okay, so these two laws, these laws were given by Mendel, okay, in his monohybrid crossing experiment, okay, which he did with the pea plant. Now, what does this law of dominance states? Now, I've already told you that a character, any character, okay, one character one character one character is always controlled by a gene, and gene contain a pair of alleles. Gene always occur in a pair. Okay, gene always occurs in a pair. So when we see this monohybrid cross that Mendel did in pea plant, okay, that we have already done in the previous video also. So if suppose this is male and this is female plant, now what happens is in gamete only one will come, so it will be like this. So when these two crosses, this pollen, okay, and this is also pollen, this is egg and egg. Now this pollen, when it fertilizes this tea, then the progeny will be capital T, small t. Similarly, progeny will be small t, capital T, and these two if fertilizes, progeny will be capital T, small t. Again same thing, okay, these two fertilizes, then the result will be capital T, small t. So this was F1 generation, okay, this was F1 generation. So to his surprise, what Mendel saw here is all the F1 progeny were tall, okay, all the F1 progeny were tall. But when we see this and when we see the parental pea plant, this plant was tall, okay, externally it was tall, and this plant was recessive and it was dwarf. And when we see this tall plant, it contained this male parent, they contain gene, okay, which was homozygous. That means both the pair of allele it was dominant, okay, both the pair of allele was dominant. And in the dwarf parent, when we see, both the pair of allele were recessive. But to his surprise, what Mendel saw was that in F1 generation, though tall and dwarf were self-pollinated, then after fertilization the progeny in the F1 generation were all tall. But when internally it was examined, okay, it was not homozygous tall. As I have already told you before also, this F1 generation, capital T, small t, though externally it appeared all tall, okay, but it was not homozygous tall. So this law of dominance tells that in a dissimilar pair of factors, which Mendel called, okay, Mendel called this gene as a factor because the name gene was not discovered at that point of time, okay, which was nothing but actually it is a gene. So in a dissimilar pair of factor, one factor always dominate the other factor, okay, one of the factor always dominate the other. That's why we got all this plant as tall, though it is heterozygous, capital T, small t. Recessive factor is also there, okay, also present, but still the plant appeared to be tall Because one of the factor in this pair, one of the factor it dominate the other. As a result, the expression in the progeny will be that of the dominant one, that of the dominant one. So all the progeny expressed the character tall. Okay, they were tall in height. So this is all about law of dominance which Mendel gave. So this law of dominance tells that in a dissimilar pair of factor, one of the factor always dominate the other factor. Okay, so as a result, the progeny will have only one of the character, either of the father or that of the mother. There won't be any mixing of the character. Okay, because all the plant are appearing tall, that means one of the character of the parent. Okay, so the male, that is father. Okay, let us consider it as a father. Okay, so paternal, father means paternal and mother means maternal. So paternal character was expressed in the progeny, though maternal character was also there, but it was in a recessive form. Okay, so this is all about law of dominance that Mendel proposed. Now talking about the second law, that is law of segregation. So segregation means to separate. Okay, I already told you segregation means to separate. Now what does this law states? Now suppose if this is a pair of allele. Okay, suppose this is the parent. Okay, suppose this is parent. Okay, this gene is present in the parent body. Now the parent, when they form the gametes, okay, when there is formation of gametes, what happens is, I've already told you, okay, that during gamete formation only the haploid number of chromosomes get incorporated into gametic cells, not only all the chromosomes. So during gamete formation, out of this pair only one set will go to one of the gamete, only one set will go with to one of the gamete, and the other part of this pair will go to the another second gamete. Okay, it can be either pollen or egg. So during gamete formation there is segregation of the pair of factors or pair of alleles. Okay, there is segregation of a pair of allele of a gene. Gene always have a pair of allele. Okay, gene always have a pair of allele. So during gamete formation there is segregation of chromosomes. Haploid number of chromosomes get incorporated into the gametic cells. As a result, the chromosome which contain gene, okay, the chromosome which contain gene, suppose this is one factor, the other part of this factor will be in the next chromosomes. So during gamete formation only half of the chromosome will come to the gametic cells. Okay, so this pair of factor or pair of allele, they segregate during gamete formation. So this is all about law of segregation, which states that during gamete formation, okay, during gamete formation the pair of alleles, okay, they segregate or separate, okay, from each other. And also another thing is, there won't be any mixing of this pair of factor. Okay, there won't be any mixing of this pair of factor. They will independently segregate from each other. There won't be any mixing. Okay, there won't be any mixing of the pair. Okay, so this is all about law of segregation which Mendel gave. So this law of dominance and law of segregation which Mendel gave, it was on the basis of monohybrid cross that he did in the pea plant, that is Pisum sativum. Okay. All right.